So if you're watching this video, chances are a brand has used your content without your permission. So what I want to do is give you kind of like a plan of action of what to do and different next steps that you can take. Now, obviously, this video is a video. It's not one-on-one advice. So if you ever have any sort of one-on-ones that you need, make sure you always go get legal advice. But I'm going to give you kind of like a breakdown of what I suggest. So the first thing you want to do, besides taking a deep breath, is gather evidence in the sense of like print screening stuff so that you have it, because this is just like a part of me that wants to have things on record. I want to make sure that I have like proof of stuff, because you never know how people will react when you're putting them on the spot. And depending how your content was used, you may be entitled to certain compensation. So you don't want them just to like pull it out and then you're like, say that they never did this or whatever. You want to have proof. So first, take the little print screen and get that proof. Now, the second thing that you're going to want to do is obviously contact the brand. Now, there are different strategies that you can kind of implement here, and I'm going to share different examples that I've seen different creators do. I've seen creators take this as an opportunity to start a conversation with a brand. This tends to be when they're newbie creators and they're just getting started, and maybe they see the brand using their content almost as a compliment and they're excited by this. I know for your more advanced creators, you may be like, no, don't do that. But remember, when you first started, when a brand reshared you, you were probably really pumped. So I've seen creators use this as a leverage point. Like, hey, I saw that you shared my content on your Instagram. I usually charge my partners for that, but I really am interested in your brand. I'd love to get to know you guys more, see how you guys work with creators. Do you have time to jump on a call? Like, I've seen creators actually not say anything. And that's also been when brands are a lot bigger and maybe that post is driving traffic to the creator's account and the creator's just starting, so they're getting that exposure. So yes, I have seen that been done as using it as almost like a jumping off point to start a potential partnership, right? To be like, hey, I know you're interested in me. I know that you must like my work. So let's talk. Let's build something out. I've also, on the flip hand, seen creators immediately reach out and send their invoice, being like, saw that you posted my content. So happy to see that you liked it. In the future, you should be reaching out to me. As I always like to have a contract in place with my brand partners or make sure that we're on the same page. Like, I've seen creators straight up be like, here's attached an invoice for my work. Yep, I have seen that as well. And then the third is oftentimes giving that brand the option, right? Like, I saw that you used my work, so here's the next steps. You can either remove it from your platform, right? Or you can pay me as such to license the content. So I've seen that happen as well, right? So you'll kind of have to decide as a business owner yourself, what feels good for you? Where do you feel? I feel that everything is case by case. My gut says that yes, brands should not be using your content without your permission. Absolutely not. And we always want to make sure that that's, confronted head on. But yes, there are instances that if a brand reshares you and is crediting you, maybe they even asked ahead of time, like, can we share this? And you may have said yes without realizing. Like, have you guys ever seen when they're like, say yes to da 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 da, and for us to reuse your content? And I've seen creators say yes and then be like, wait a second, why are they using it on my website? It's on target.com, but you said yes to it. So there are instances that you may have said yes without knowing. That's why it's important to always do your reading, but definitely contacting the brand. Now, if you are going to use this as a leverage point to develop a conversation with the brand, to kind of get them to pay you, to be like, wait a second, I want to pivot this conversation and get paid. I feel like one of the biggest strengths that I bring to the community is it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? So it's not like going after them, but it's, finding those right words to show that you bring value to the table and you want to help this partner out. So if you're a creator that wants to pivot this conversation, you want to actually get paid for the content, or maybe you want to start pitching to brands in general, come to my next free live training. I host them all the time on how to land paid brand deals. You're going to love it. And I will give you an email type of response that you could use in talking to brands and pivoting those conversations from free to paid. Now, it also depends where your head is at. Like, if you do not want this brand using your content at all, which is oftentimes what I do see in my community, you kind of have to follow them, right? Because now you're basically giving them a choice. Either you pay me or you remove it. And by asking them, we always want to start off like asking things almost like as if giving them the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, I noticed that you posted this. I was not informed. I, would appreciate if your team XYZ, right? before we send a cease and desist or copyright infringement notice letter. Before we get there, we want to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt, like tell them what you want done, right? So what is it that you want done? Do you want to be compensated? Okay, well, let them know that in order to use your content and to have it live, these are the fees associated. If you want them to take it down, let them know that too, right? But then the next step, yes, you may be having to send a proper cease and desist to let them know like they've been put on notice. You're also going to want to, in this case, if it feels a little bit adversarial, or they're not responding, definitely report them to the platform. So on Instagram, you can report the content to Instagram and let them know, like they can't be using my stuff, right? Now, if you find that it's getting like really heavy and they're not responding, or they're not paying you, they're not removing it, and it's getting funky, this is where you as a creator will decide, okay, do I want to seek legal advice? Do I want to go after them? What are the next steps? Because obviously it depends where you are based. That has obviously a big part to do with it. I have a lot of creators in the US that watch my channel, but I have a lot of international creators. So then now when we get to legal, then everyone kind of has to go into their own camp and do their own thing. The one thing that I would just suggest in general is to have all of, your communications and anything with a potential brand in writing. Again, not just print screening and getting that evidence, but having it in writing just in case. Like you want to either have it in the DM or in an email, not calling and saying that you gave them notice. Even if you call, send a follow-up email saying, I just left a voicemail for your team. That way we have it written and we can always refer to it just in case you ever need it in the future. Now, here's where I'm going to ask you guys, what do you guys do when this has happened to you and a brand has used your content? What has worked? What hasn't worked? Let us know in the comments so we can all learn from each other. I think you guys are amazing at sharing this type of advice, so go ahead and leave that in the comments below. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you would do, and I will see you in the next video.